What up, everybody? Tulsa King, episode 2, titled Center of the Universe. This episode starts out and ends with the storyline of his search for his reconnecting with the relationship with his long-lost daughter, Tina. So starting out, he's on the computer, he's searching for her. Information comes up, but he does not have the debit card, so he can pay the $9.99 to actually get the information. Being fresh out of jail, or prison, I should say, he doesn't have a debit card, and he doesn't even have an ID. His current ID is expired, so he has a couple roadblocks on the way of paying that $9.99. So we don't get back to him searching for Tina until the end of the episode, when he finally pays the $9 and is able to call her. He makes contact with her, and her husband picks up the phone, and he finds out that his daughter Tina has a husband, and she also has children. So he gets her on the phone after initially she said she's not going to talk. He says he just wants to hear her voice. So she gets on. She said, "You heard my voice," and then she hangs up on him right in his face. So that was all he got. So he does know his daughter's still around, doing well with a husband and children of her own, giving him some grandchildren. So as I said, he had an issue after being locked up after 25 years of simply not having a debit card. So in this episode, we see him having to go through the process of getting a debit card. But in order to get the debit card, he had to get an ID, and his ID was expired. So he also had to go to the license bureau. And that's just a few issues he had this particular episode. He was at the shipping place. He had to pay another man cash to be able to ship the money he owes his mafia family back in New York. So he had a lot of issues being locked up 25 years, readjusting back to society, no glasses at the coffee shop, and the street sign that was telling him, "Wait." So he has some issues after 25 years being locked up, readjusting back to society, which anybody can imagine, because it was, last time he was free, it was the 1990s, like 1997. So if you think back all the way where you were back in 1997, whew, boy. So yeah, he got a lot of adjusting to do, considering 1997 is what he was used to. Now he's living in 2022, so I did 1 year in prison, and I had to make some adjustments getting out. So I can't even imagine what he got to go through after being locked up 25 years. So we get to the ATF agent. We find out her name this episode. Her name is Stacy Bill. She's seeing a therapist after being separated from her soon-to-be ex-husband after 1 year. We also find out sounds like she's a recovering alcoholic. She told her therapist she's doing good with the alcohol, but we know just a few days earlier she was at the bar and the clubs with Dwight, and she was drunk, and that's one of the reasons she said she slept with him. She said she wanted to hurry up and get with Dwight. Let's hurry up and make this happen before my buzz wears off. So we do know she was drinking that night. So she does go and see Dwight. In my last video about this, I had the question, is she going to admit to him that she is an ATF agent, or is she going to try to play him? And the answer was, the question was answered this particular episode when we find out she does admit that she is an ATF agent. She doesn't seem interested in busting him at all. So I do want to know if she just has love interest. It obviously seems to me that that's what it is. But she does tell him also that if he gets jammed up while he's in Tulsa, she's not going to be able to help him. So we'll see what their relationship is like moving forward, and in what way, it progresses. So we know she's not going to just go away. She knows she's going to be a character in this show. So definitely want to see what her role is. That's definitely one of the biggest question marks in this particular show, Tulsa King. What this ATF agent named Stacy Bill is going to be doing, and what her role in the show is actually going to be. And if she is Dwight's love interest, she says she's not going to help him if he gets jammed up. But we know, in the interest of love, people do some crazy things, so we might see her doing some dirty things for Dwight moving forward, but that's just a possibility. I honestly can't tell you. Now we get to Vince. Vince is the guy who, the mafia capo who Dwight punched in the face in the beginning of episode 1. He got kind of loud with Dwight, started screaming at him, and said Dwight was in diapers. So Dwight knocked him out. So yeah, Dwight knocked him out. We found out that he broke his jaw in 3 places, and his jaw is wired shut. And now Vince wants Dwight dead. So he goes to Chicky and tries to get Chicky to make the call. Chicky says he's going to meet with his dad. So Chicky and Pete come to the decision they don't want anybody getting killed, but they do say Dwight is now going to have to pay Vince $100K. So now he's in debt to Vince, $100K for breaking his jaw. So that gets me back to what he said at the very, very beginning of episode 1, where he's been married to this life all this time. That we find out also he had 6 chances to snitch on Pete and their crime family to get out of prison, and he never once snitched. So he'd been married to the life, like he said, for all this time, and now he's getting out, and it just seems like a terrible family to be involved in. He did 25 years for this family just to get out and be sent to Tulsa with no crew, no anything, nobody to back him up. And on top of that, he got to start earning money immediately because they sent him to Tulsa, and they said he got to kick back $5K a week to start. We see him already sending his first payment. That's why he got caught up at the shipping place, had to give the guy cash because he didn't have a debit card, and they only took debit cards. They didn't take cash. So on top of owing his mafia family $5K, now he owes Vince $100K to stay alive. So this is not the best family to be a part of. Maybe he should have not been so loyal. I don't advocate snitching, but god dang, he did 25 years for these people, and they come out and they don't give him no kind of party. They don't send him on no kind of vacation. They send him straight to Tulsa to start kicking back 5K a week for them. About 20K a month. So tough family to work for. But I do want to look into this. He said regarding Vince, if there's ever a guy who had a crack in the jaw coming, it was that kid. And I said after episode 1, I wondered what Vince and Dwight's history was, because episode 1 made it clear Dwight knew Vince before he went to prison, because they did say, "You remember Vince, right?" And he said yes, but Vince couldn't have been very old. I don't see Vince as, I say his age is approximately 40 years old. So that would have made him about around 15 years old when Dwight went in. So he'd been around the family for a long time. I also had the question, is his father or somebody involved in somebody that maybe Dwight killed or something like that. Maybe there is a prior history involved, because Vince was getting loud and seemed aggressive with Dwight at that meeting, and it before he even got punched. So that seems to me that he has an axe to grind with Vince before he ever even got punched in the face. This gets me to another op named Armin, who is living in Tulsa under the name Manny. He is the guy who saw Dwight at the mall in episode 1. He confirms that was indeed Dwight he saw at the mall, and he thinks Dwight is there to kill him. Now we see Armin, who is going by the name Manny. He is established in Tulsa. He is running a horse ranch or a track somewhere where there's horse betting going on, because we saw someone talking to him about gambling. And he also has a decent house in Tulsa. So he's established there, living under the name Manny. So I'm trying to see if he is I'm guessing he is a former mafia member, since he thinks Dwight is there to kill him. I'm guessing he is there under the name Manny because he is in WITSEC, but he's still likely involved in some illegal things or some shady things living in Tulsa. So moving forward, Armin finds out where Dwight is staying, so he has a big drop on Dwight. So does Pete and Chicky and the crew in New York know about Armin? Does they know that he is located in Tulsa, or is he on the run and he is in hiding? Because he is in touch with somebody back in New York whose name I think is Eddie, so that might be his person he's connected with in the government, or whoever who put him in WITSEC, or that could be somebody from the Italian mob syndicate back up there in New York who placed Armin down there in Tulsa. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward, and definitely one of the most compelling storylines of this particular show, in my opinion. That gets me to Dwight's driver named Tyson. Tyson lives at home with his parents, and his dad is not happy that he is driving around a gangster. He thinks that Tyson needs to be in school, but Tyson tells his dad that he's going to learn a lot concerning business from Dwight. And we see later on in the episode Tyson getting home very late at night. His parents are in bed, but his dad is waiting up for him and is looking out the window to see his son getting home. That gets me to wrapping up with his meeting Bodie's Connect name Jimmy. That is Jimmy's supplier for his weed dispensary, and he went into negotiations with Jimmy, and they work out a deal, like I said in my previous video, likely for an expansion. I don't know exactly what they're planning on doing for expanding, but he is getting way more units than Bodie had been getting previously. I don't know what Bodie had been getting previously, but I know Dwight worked out a deal with Jimmy to get a whole lot more units, so they're definitely looking to expand. And Dwight still has to send that $100K kickback tax up to Vince, so we definitely know Dwight has to make some moves, and he has to make them fast. So wrapping it up, concerning Tulsa King, for the first 2 shows, the episodes have only been around 40 minutes. So I'm not sure if that's because the first 2 episodes were also shown on TV, Paramount Network, or if all the episodes are going to be 40 minutes. So I'm really hoping that the episodes are moving up to 55 minutes to an hour, finishing up the final 8 episodes of this particular series. And if the episodes are going to be only 40 minutes long, they can't be having scenes that are just pointless, like the scene where Dwight was smoking on his way back into the city from Jimmy's farm. So that was like a 3-4 minute scene. If they're gonna keep these episodes at 40 minutes, that's my complaint. They can't be having any just wasted time like that. I got bored watching that particular scene. Other than that, I'm really enjoying Tulsa King. Leave your thoughts in the comments.